Hey good people, welcome to the channel. I'm Musically Malnourished and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. Today, we're checking back in with Miss Florence Welch. This is Florence and the Machine's debut album from 2009 called Lungs. Now, we did Dance Fever and I absolutely loved that album. So I'm really looking forward to this debut work from her, from the band. I think it's going to be awesome. This album is sponsored by somebody, but they wish to remain anonymous. So thank you so much to the person that sponsored this and for giving me an opportunity to revisit Florence. We're going to get in. We're going to give each song a listen, make a few comments along the way, but I'll be keeping some notes in my handy dandy notebook. That way, after each track, we can talk about the things that stand out and see what other information we can find. I am doing the original 13-track release, but the deluxe version, all the deluxe tracks, which pretty much I think doubles the album, will be over on Patreon with live performances and music videos. And I already have the music videos and live performances and all of that from Dance Fever over on Patreon as well. There's hundreds of hours of additional content from dozens of artists. You get to help vote on what we listen to next on the channel. We do exclusive live streams, so feel free to check that out, but those will be fun to look at. She did such an amazing job on those music videos, really artistic and fun to watch. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking now and we're going to get into it. This is track 1 titled Dog Days Are Over, which I do believe I know this song if it's the song that I'm thinking of, but everything else should be new to me. If you want to go to a specific song, the timestamps are in the description, or just press play and let's hang out together. All right, here we go. Ready to dip back into this world.
Happiness.
I think I've only heard the chorus of this song. That's so good. Love the tambourine. That chorus is so explosive. One thing that I love about Florence, you know, even with the limited exposure that I've had to her, obviously just an incredible vocalist, but she's so artful. Lyrically, and again, the music videos and things from Dance Fever were just so cool. Sometimes odd, and I had a hard time understanding everything that was going on, but I love watching her perform, watching her dance, get lost in the music. Man, the tambourine on here, it's not that often that I hear such aggressive tambourine playing. And obviously there's points where it's slower, but then when it gets into that chorus and everything, and there are some interesting patterns that are happening with the tambourine, but obviously the drummer's doing an absolutely incredible job. Everything comes through so well, man. The hits on the keys. So now when I think about this song, I'm honestly realizing I'm not fully clear on what the dog days mean. Because I think when I think of dog days, my mind goes toward something negative. But then when I think of the phrase, the dog days of summer, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's actually like a positive thing. Like almost the butterfly type stage, infatuation, which we'll look up the term dog days and dog days of summer to get clear, because in the full context of the song, what it sounds like is whether it's a relationship or some love in general, if the dog days are over, maybe it means that kind of first phase of the infatuation are over and the relationship is hitting some stress. These horses are now chasing her down, this bullet in the back from somebody who should have known better. But the idea of run for your mother, run, all those that are being said, I'm not 100% sure. So it'll be interesting to look into that. But let's go ahead and hop over and look at, and it might explain this on Genius, but we'll go there second. Let's do dog days meaning. So the dog days are the hottest, most humid weeks of the summer season. So let's see. Oh, this might be interesting. Why are they called dog days? The dog star, the name comes from Sirius, known as the dog star. Shout out satellite radio. Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky, sits in the constellation Canis Major, which means the greater dog. Thousands of years ago, ancient Greeks and Romans noticed that Sirius rose right alongside the sun during midsummer. They believed the star's bright light added extra heat to the sun and caused fevers, droughts, and bad luck. The real cause of the heat is science later proves stars do not add heat to the Earth. The intense summer heat happens because the northern hemisphere tilts toward the sun. And August is often hotter than June, the longest day of the year, because the ground and oceans take weeks to fully absorb and release summer warmth. Okay, so if you're using it in slang, dog days means the absolute hottest, most humid day of the summer. Also describes a slow time when people feel too lazy, tired, or unmotivated to work because of the heat. So yeah, I mean, I guess in the context of the dog days being over, I don't know. That's why I thought at first maybe it was a positive thing, because it's like the work, the hottest, the hardest times, but it could mean hottest as in like, again, the infatuation stage. But let's hop in here and see if we can find out some more information. It's a single off of Lungs, considered the band's first big hit. This heart-based track is about suddenly finding happiness. Okay, so it is more of a positive, disbelieving that it's actually there. According to one interview, the song title comes from an art piece by Hugo Rondinun. The song was released as this album's second single in 2008 with You've Got the Love. However, after the album's success, after its release in 2009, the band re-released the song as a single in 2010. Okay, here's the original single cover of Dog Days Are Over. I wonder what art piece, I mean, I guess we can look at the artist and see if anything pops up. Okay, somebody, let's see, Dog Days Are Over. So, prominent 1996-2007 text and neon public art installation by Swiss contemporary artist. This piece consists of the phrase "Dog days are over," rendered in an arc of giant rainbow-colored illuminated letters, famously inspired the breakout hit song. So this would be the art piece. I guess an installation. Interesting. Hopefully we can find out some more information here in this entry. Okay, this is what Florence said. Welch told Culture Deluxe that most of the sounds on the song came from a tiny Yamaha keyboard. Also, the percussion sound was hands on the wall while hitting a drum underneath it. At the same time, the beat was really accidental. She said, "It was just a song that I did at my friend's studio in Crystal Palace. We didn't have any instruments, and we were in a studio the size of a loo." She told NME in January of 2010 the song's music video is her favorite one to date. She explained this was not only because it was our first, but also because of the people involved. "I just made it on a whim. We went down to the woods, we only had one camera, got my dad to put a clown costume on and my friend's nephew to dress up as the baby clown while we decorated the woods. Dog walkers gave us the weirdest looks. It was really fun." She said, "When I was writing this song, I would go to Issa's studio after art school, cycling up Crystal Palace Hill, which takes some dedication. I had been listening to an album called Funeral, and I wanted to at least try and make something that could be in a way as beautiful." She said, "I don't know if I succeeded, but to play with them last night was a dream come true. Arcade Fire changed the way I wanted to make music. I will be forever grateful to them." That's cool. Let's see, in 2018, NPR ranked this number 17 greatest song by a female or non-binary artist, 21st century, saying, "It's hard to imagine a more striking opening gambit than this miniature epic, the first song on Florence and the Machine's debut album, Lungs, remixing the Baroque concept of Joanna Newsom and echoic aesthetic of Nico Case with older influences, 1960s girl groups, the heavy drama of Grace Slick, the sheer ambition of Zeppelin. The young UK band barreled onto the scene like the happiness Florence Welch sings about, which hits her like a train on a track. That train gives way to the wilder imagery of horses bearing self-shattering news of recovery. Here they come. Order likewise gives way to jubilation as musical elements that enter in sequence like train cars. Harps, stomps, claps, drums, voices gradually pile up. Into a tradition of women's pop music often defined by longing and pain, the group delivered an unexpected and raucous encounter with joy." I mean, that's basically the same thing I said, right? I mean, my words were just as eloquent, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Produced by James Ellis Ford, which oh my gosh, okay. This guy comes up so much. What a talented individual. A lot of work with Arctic Monkeys. And geez, a lot of work with Arctic Monkeys. Fontaine's DC, we did this album. I love that album. I still listen to it a lot. Gorillaz. I'm assuming Florence is in here somewhere. He's a bit busy guy, you know. Yeah, there's Florence. I saw her up here. So, cool. Yeah, here he is too. So I'm sure he worked with them. Mumford & Sons. I'm sure he worked with them a lot on this album. All right, let's get up and see a little bit more. Well, this person says the dog days represent a period of domination. There are phrases of Aristotle, Shakespeare, and in the Greek, Roman, and other mythologics which the meaning is the same. The horses symbolize her feelings. They'll guide her. Now she's walking by herself, so she needs to avoid anyone who tries to control her choices. First, the charioteer of the human soul drives a pair. Secondly, one of the horses is noble and of noble breed, but the other quite the opposite in breed and character. Therefore, in our case, the driving is necessarily difficult and troublesome. It's from Plato. Let's go up here and see what maybe the annotations say. So for the song's protagonist, happiness came suddenly and forcefully, hit her like a train on a track. Although happiness is generally perceived as a good thing, comparing it to being run over by a train shows how scary the feeling can be. Furthermore, happiness is like a drug, captivates you. Once you get into it, there's no going back. That feeling stuck to you forever, and anything that isn't happy seems negative. That's interesting. So coming toward her, stuck still, no turning back. She hid around the corners and she hid under beds, so like trying to maybe get away from it. She killed it with kisses, and from it she fled. With every bubble, she sank with a drink and washed it away down the kitchen sink. Oh, is this like a drowning metaphor? With every bubble, she sank with a drink? Because at first it makes me think of like a bath, you know, like chilling in a bath. But I don't know. Like the bubbles from being underwater, and then she sinks and because she takes a drink of the water and washed it away down the kitchen sink, like tried to get rid of it. So the term dog days refers to hot, sultry days of summer. It's used to represent a difficult time in the protagonist's life. So yeah, okay, so the difficult times are over. The horses are coming. Now, annotations, just so you know if you're new to the channel, I don't take them as fact. I read them, let them kind of inform, and just see if there's something in there that resonates with something I was thinking. The horses are coming. I feel like can represent several things. This is going more for four horsemen of the apocalypse. She's running away from her saving grace instead of accepting it with open arms. Run fast for your mother, fast for your father. The protagonist is wary of leaving their life behind, gripping onto their family rather than committing to a change for the better, running away from the demise of their former life rather than letting change occur. Joseph Campbell says we must let go of the life we plan so as to accept the one that is waiting for us. Run fast for your mother, fast for your father. Run for your children, for your sisters and brothers. Leave all your love and your longing behind. You can't carry it with you if you want to survive. I never wanted anything from you except everything you had, and that was left and what was left after that too. Okay, so wanting everything. It's such an interesting dichotomy going on of this like kind of positive and negative. Interesting. So yeah, feel free, to share any thoughts that you have as well. We'll keep listening. Let's go to track 2. This is titled Rabbit Heart, Raise It Up. A xylophone? Or is that the harp? Sounds like a harp. And the sounds are so big, so big, so many layers, so many cool things to kind of fixate on, you know, through multiple listens. I do think it was the harp that was making that, because it sounded more of like strings, you know, than the ding that you get on a xylophone. Man, I'm not familiar with Midas, so we'll have to look at that. And I think, again, Florence is one of those artists that I have to let go of my analytical brain a little bit, and also just recognize that I'm probably not going to get just like line by line specifics on meaning versus understanding as a whole what she's speaking. So it sounds to me kind of even connected to the first song. It is this shedding of the old self. I don't know what the offering is. I don't know if she's the offering. I don't know if her heart is the offering. And there is even the question in there, who's the lamb and who's the knife? You know, who's the one that is this sacrifice? But especially with the shedding of skin when the seasons change and the water turning from blue to red, I'm assuming the blue to red is the idea of the sacrifice, the idea of blood. But she also says in there she has this rabbit heart, which from what I believe I know, rabbits have pretty sensitive little hearts, right? Like they can get spooked very easily and even die because of that if they are like too excited. But I just think of this small, like rapid beating heart. And she says her heart needs to go from that of a rabbit to a lion. She needs a stronger heart to maybe contend with whatever feelings or things that are going on. So it'll be interesting to look at the Midas reference as well. Let's go ahead and hop over to Genius. See what we can find out. I love all the art. I love a good rabbit, man. We have a park near us that if you go out generally early in the morning or toward the evening, because it also has a disc golf course that like weaves all through the woods and things like that, we run into so many rabbits. And I love them. Although open to her interpretation, the song is a description of what Florence felt whilst on the precipice of fame. And I know even from Dance Fever, there were songs in there that she reflected back and talked about some of the anxiety and feelings that she had, you know, with performing and with fame. And obviously in Dance Fever, a very different place in her life, and in this pull between continuing as an artist and also the idea of establishing a family and things like that. But she says, I think it was just all about me about to jump into the limelight, being in the music industry, stuff like that. After being asked to record an upbeat song as a single for the label, she ended up with a chorus about ritual sacrifice. Florence stated, I'd written all these dark songs, and the label suggested we should have something that was a bit more upbeat. In the process of trying to do that, I realized maybe I was sacrificing something. I had a really upbeat piano and drums, but the lyrics that came out were, this is the gift, comes with a price, who is the lamb and who is the knife? The rabbit heart is a reference to fear, so afraid of what's about to happen, of being in the spotlight. Man, so it does just seem like this kind of internal struggle, right? That I think most artists that are not necessarily just out for industry success or don't really care that much about being seen as much as they care about the art they want to make. And there is that struggle inside of any artist who wants to make a living doing what they love, but with that, you enter this battle of now like being commercialized and having to listen to somebody, you know, who's like, no, we need to do this, especially if you're contractually obligated, and that push and that pull of like, yeah, but this is what I want to make. And they're like, yeah, but this is what I need you to make. And the wondering, like, who's the lamb, you know, and who's the knife in this? Who's getting the better end of the deal here? And all those fears that can come with that. It's really interesting. It says it was written after her label asked her for something more upbeat. In an interview for Steve Lamacq on his BBC Radio, she explained, I've been doing all this heavy dark stuff, just want to express that sort of joyful sort of side to music. But then again, once I started doing that, the lyrics started getting dark again. Then it became all about ritual sacrifice, like who's the lamb, who's the knife. But it's sort of joyful in a way because it's all about giving yourself up, letting go. And you start off being a sort of timid rabbit heart. And you have to become courageous, becoming like a lion heart. That's awesome. Speaking of DIY Magazine, she said, originally I wanted the song to be called Offering because I was thinking of offering of a heart or a sacrifice. At the time, I felt under quite a lot of pressure toward the end of the album, and I had wanted to make an upbeat song, but obviously it became about the premise of what are you actually giving up, or if it's not a give, what is actually taking away from you. The song features Welch's vocal overdubbed with so many harmonies she sounds like a massed choir of one. She confessed to The Independent in 2009 the guy who mixed it nearly had a nervous breakdown. Yeah, dude, this is stuff I'm ready to see. I love watching her perform so much. Look at that, dude. What a power image. It's like almost reminds me of Celine Dion. Yeah, produced with Paul Epworth, so I'm sure he's going to be consistently throughout this album as kind of its sole producer. Piano, organ, drums, harp. Yeah, no xylophone in there. I love a xylophone, man. Very cool. All right, track 3. This is I'm Not Calling You a Liar.
I'm not calling you a liar. Just don't lie to me. I'm not calling you a thief. Just don't steal from me. I'm not calling you a ghost. Just stop haunting me. And I love you so much. I'm gonna let you I'm not calling you a liar. Just don't lie to me. And I love you so much. I'm gonna let you. I'm not calling you a thief. Just don't. And I love you so much. I'm gonna let you. I'm not calling you a ghost.
You know, with her songwriting, it's easy a lot of times to immediately go to a relationship. But I've learned from her, even from this album, a lot of times it's her speaking about an internal thing going on with her. It's about her toward music, toward art. And then sometimes it can also be about a relationship with another person. But the idea here, I mean, it could be toward art for sure. This idea of not calling you a liar, but don't lie to me, not calling you a thief, but don't steal from me, not calling you a ghost, but you're haunting me. Which is interesting too, because she doesn't say, but don't haunt me, the same way she talks about lying and stealing. Because it could be, you know, toward art or toward the music industry. I'm not calling you a liar, but don't lie to me. I'm not calling you a thief, but don't steal something from me. I'm not calling you a ghost, but you are haunting me. But it also starts to sound kind of like, you know, some sort of possession by a ghost, by a spirit. It could be, you know, toward another person, or again, toward this art that begins to take over her mind, her mouth, her hands, until she comes and falls at the feet of this person or this thing. And that she almost in a way seems okay with it. But she also has this idea, but basically, if it were not for the grace of God, that's what I would do, or that's how I would go. And so maybe it is this feeling of like feeling possessed, or like she's drawn to something. And if it were not for the grace of God, she would just completely bow to that thing, to that person. So let's get in and check it out. It's such fun songwriting. Uses a ghost as an extended metaphor for a past love that Florence cannot forget. As Florence explained, this was originally about two loves. How the ghost of your ex-love is always around when you start a new relationship. When your new boyfriend holds you, you kind of feel your ex-boyfriend's arms. Those ghostly limbs. I'm not calling you a liar was actually something a boyfriend said to me once. So it's about the crossing over of two loves, of moving forward. And maybe like not wanting to be hurt. Okay, looks like we have a different... No, wait. James Ellis Ford. So was it a different person on this one? Or am I just crazy? Paul Epworth. Oh, okay. So I read the names wrong. So Paul Epworth on the previous track, worked with Adele, Florence and the Machine, Coldplay, Lana Del Rey, Lorde. Okay, cool. So we got a few different people producing. Yeah. I love when we get, let's see, I believe the line in the post-chorus is, "There but for the grace of God go I," which completely changes the meaning of the song. It's only by the grace of God the speaker is not even more lost, completely overrun by this man. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I love that we're getting quotes from her. That's my favorite, you know, when you can really hear from the artist. Whether they want to like fully lay it out, because sometimes they want to keep a little bit of mystery in a song, which I'm totally fine with. But I do love at least to know, like, here's kind of what was in my mind, you know, when I was thinking about it. And sometimes it may be totally disconnected, or it might be a very small thing that just is like the impetus for where it ends up going. I found that a lot with like Pearl Jam's writing. It could be just this random little thing that you know, he saw, and it kind of sparks this idea that turns into something different. But I love hearing from the artists themselves. All right, let's go to track 4. This is Howl. I hope there's some howling in this track. Got such great flow. What a powerhouse, man.
Drag my teeth across your chest to taste your beating heart. My fingers climb your skin, try to take my way in. You are the moon that breaks the night for which I have to hold.
Oh.
My fingers climb your skin,
Ooh.
try to take my way in. You are the moon that breaks the night for which I
It's almost like it turns her into this werewolf. Ravage. Dude, the strings are so good. Gives it this like eerie, dark, midnight, like, almost horror sound. Dude, that song slaps. As a werewolf or lichen fan myself, it's the imagery in that song is so cool. It very much paints this, not like the stabby horror type element, but almost this more eerie Nosferatu, like psychedelic fear type sound, a transformation at the full moon at midnight type of feeling, running through the forest, you know, being pursued as this person is transforming. It's just such cool writing happening in here as well, continuing to tie it back to this idea of like the saints can't help you, these ropes are unbound, which obviously within the song she's just talking about this force of love that can awaken a person, you know, and maybe even send them kind of over the edge. They become too attached, too clingy, and the thing that they wanted to love, they end up ravaging and destroying even. And how that can, you know, be awakened in everybody, and how she tried to restrain herself, but she couldn't. Like, so cool. Okay, let's go take a look at it. Especially this line here. The fabric of your flesh, pure as a wedding dress. Until I wrap myself inside your arms, I cannot rest. The saints can't help me now. The ropes have been unbound. I hunt for you with bloody feet across the hollowed ground. Come on, dude. Okay, Welch told the story behind the song on her website. She said, I was in a really intense emotional state for this one. I'd been so drunk and badly behaved that I felt like a beast. I felt feral. I was thinking about the extremes you go to when you're in love, the way it takes over, and how that then turns into wanting to rip and tear. Young love starts off so innocent, but then you make mistakes. It becomes sordid sometimes and dangerous. Then while we were in the studio, I got so over-involved with the idea of werewolves. I took this idea and ran with it, and all the ideas just came from gothic horror. Yeah, that's a better way of saying it, and that's kind of what I was meaning with like the Nosferatu or even Castlevania type vibe. Werewolves and wedding dresses and licking beating hearts. Oh man. You know, she scares me a little bit. And I mentioned this in Dance Fever as well, because I have a lot more experience with Aurora, because I went through Aurora's entire discography. I was doing it a bit different on the channel. Kind of when I started the channel, I was doing a song a day, working through artist discography, and that's how I was doing Aurora's music up until either her last or the last few albums. I switched to doing videos like this, the full album reactions, which I enjoy so much more, really getting the full context of what's happening. But I feel so much of Aurora in Florence and the Machine. I'm not saying that Florence took from Aurora, because obviously, you know, I think, well, you know, their careers, I think, run pretty close to one another. Let's see, Aurora debut album, but Aurora did start when she was very young. Let's see. Okay, so no, Aurora's debut album was 2016. So I'd be curious to know if Florence was, you know, inspiration to Aurora. But regardless, I feel a lot of that same intensity in the artistic imagery and the different, like, mythological vibes at times, spiritual connections. There's a lot in there, and they obviously are both incredibly talented vocalists and just make really unique music. And that's something I've heard throughout this album. It's just so much unique instrumentation. Okay, track 5. Yeah, that Howl, man, that's a standout for me. Track 5 is Kiss with a Fist.
You hit me once, I hit you back. You gave a kick, I gave a slap. You smashed a plate over my head, then I set fire to our bed. You hit me once, I hit you back. You gave a kick, I gave a slap. You smashed a plate over my head, then I set fire to our bed. Oh, my black eye casts no shadow. Your red eye sees no blame.
So interesting.
So we remain the same. Elastics, sweat drips, break the lock if it don't fit. A kick in the teeth is good for some. A kiss with a fist is better than none. A kiss with a fist is better than none. I broke your jaw once before. I spilled your blood upon the floor. You broke my leg in return. So let's sit back and watch the bed burn. Sweat drips, break the lock if it don't fit. A kick in the teeth is good for some. A kiss with a fist is better than none. Whoa, a kiss with a fist is better than none. You hit me once, I hit you back. You gave a kick, I gave a slap. You smashed the plate over my head, then I set fire to our bed. Whoa.
It's almost like a little rock-inspired interlude, which obviously, I don't think it's a song advocating for domestic abuse. I think she's obviously using this kind of figurative language in the idea of, again, love, and kind of the battle that goes on in her saying a kiss with a fist is better than none. And so, you know, which it would be interesting you know, I've been married for 17 years, so I would never describe our relationship like this. You know, we try to be incredibly respectful toward one another, you know, but it's just funny. I can see this kind of like idea of the wrestling that goes into relationships, but almost like you'd rather be in wrestling to make something work and be good than not having it at all. But it also kind of leans towards sounding like this really tumultuous, just crazy, unstable type of relationship. All right, let's check this out. Kiss with a Fist, Florence and the Machine's debut single. Really? That's crazy. The violence she sings about is not a case of domestic abuse, a metaphor for the strength of her and her lover's passion. The lyrics originally came from a Shock's Happy Slap, which she sang for the band's sole record. Also, Florence has compared this song to Leona Lewis' Bleeding Love. She said, "It was such a long time ago that I wrote it." She said, "I was 17, I was hanging out with a lot of punk band, I guess I just wanted to write like not your typical love song. I was just messing around and someone was playing this kind of country bluesy riff and I just sang it. The first time I sang it, it just came into my head when I was doing an open mic session. And I just got on this riff and then I wrote the rest of the song. It wasn't about personal experience. A lot of the stuff I write about is imagery, relationships, and like imagining chaos." In an interview with Uncut magazine in January 2010, it was suggested that Welch is saying in this song that being beaten up by your man is better than being ignored by him. I think it's pretty clear that's not what she's saying. She said, "I want to make it clear that a man has never beaten me up, and I would never advocate that in a song in any way whatsoever. There are no victims in that song. They're both beating the shit out of one another. There's no victimization in it. The song is describing a highly destructive relationship, but one which both partners enjoy, but it's all metaphorical." Let's see. She said on their official website, "I was 16 or 17. I'd just fallen in love for the first time. I'd also started hanging out with an older group of people, watching how their relationships worked. There was this one couple who were so cool, but so visceral and so intense. The guy never hit the girl, but I saw her lamp him a couple of times, and she'd always give as good as she got. But it wasn't really the physical violence. It was more about the fact that their animal passion for each other was the thing that was attractive for them. It was how joyful destruction can be and how alluring it is to be in a relationship that was so fiery. There was never a dull moment when they were around. I don't know how they do it. I'm a conflict avoider. I think I write about such intense things because I'm actually really bad at expressing anger." That's interesting. Steve Mackey on this one. It's a different person. He's done work with Arcade Fire, who I've never listened to. Obviously Florence, Luke Combs. A lot of work with Luke Combs. Pulp? That sounds interesting. Yeah, I think it would be a fun music video if they're like sending each other through walls and obviously, you know, done in a very tasteful, like funny type way. In some ways, it reminds me of 21 Pilots' "Tear in My Heart." You're the tear in my heart. I'm on fire. You're the tear in my heart. Take me higher. But the whole point is like this person enters your life and becomes this tear in your heart, this thing that rips you apart, but in a way that you're, you know, glad about, excited about, because it's a love like you've never experienced before. That's fun. I was not expecting that. All right, let's go to track 6, Girl with One Eye. Well, that's pretty.
She told me not to step on the cracks. I told her not to fuss and relax. Pretty little thing stopped me in my tracks. But now she sleeps with one eye open. But that's the price she'll pay. price you pay. I said, hey, girl with one eye, get your filthy fingers out of my pie. I said, hey, girl with one eye, I'll cut your little heart out, 'cause you made me cry. I slipped my hand under her skirt. I said, don't worry, oh, it's not gonna my reputation's kinda clouded with dirt. That's why you sleep with one eye open, but that's the price you pay. Get your filthy fingers out of my pie. Go with one eye. Get your filthy fingers out of my pie. Go with one eye. I'll cut your little heart out, 'cause you made me cry.
Man, it had this really interesting, almost like piano lounge, noir type of sound to it, especially that closing chord, you know, sounds like the end of some sort of scene of a mystery. And what a different sound. And it almost has this feeling of like a Grimm's fairy tale, you know, or some sort of fable. And I wonder with the idea of get your finger out of my pie, not to be crass, you know, she went there a little bit in this song, but if it is like more of a sexual innuendo type thing. But it's, I mean, I can grasp the like, this person slept with one eye open. And so because of not sure they could trust, and because the person slept with one eye open or felt that they couldn't trust, the other person removed their eye. And so maybe it's this kind of retaliation for not feeling trusted, or also a justification for why they slept with one eye open. So you can obviously tell there's like this conflict going on, but it's just presented in a really strange way. So she told The Independent, "I've always been attracted to dark imagery. I used to believe in vampires and werewolves. I get night terrors, panic attacks. Even as a kid, I'd be more inclined to write about a flower dying than blossoming." She said it wasn't written by me. I started hanging out with a punk band called The Ludes. They used to play this song live, but never recorded it. Something about it really touched me, and I used to sing it with them on stage. Then when they stopped playing it, I started playing it in my sets. Really happy it's on this album. It's a nice connection with that part of my life. In my teens, that band totally inspired me. They were the reason why I started writing songs. Probably why I started writing such dark songs. That's interesting how she got kind of a hold of it. So I wonder if it's crediting this band, The Ludes. Because these are some of the people who were listed on it. But maybe these aren't any of the people that it kind of originated from. Okay. Let's see if anybody's saying anything down here. In some ways, I think she's the girl with one eye, and she wrote this in her molester's perspective. Huh. Cover song, not an original she wrote. Okay, so some are saying it's about rape or molestation. I think I'll have to skip this one. I get it's a cover and all, but the lyrics are probably so icky is maybe what they mean, or squicky. Wow, people feel really strongly about this. There's no annotations on it or anything. She told me not to step on the cracks. I told her not to fuss and relax. Oh, pretty little face stopped me in my tracks. But now she sleeps with one eye open. That's the price she'll pay. I took a knife, cut out her eye, took it home and watched it wither and die. She's lucky that I didn't slip her a smile. Now get your filthy fingers out of my pie. Interesting. I mean, it's hard, you know, if somebody kind of puts something forward like that, then it's very easy to see it through the lens. I think there's still some things in there to be like, okay, well, what does this mean in the sense of, because where does it say? Yeah, I just gonna said, oh, my reputation's kind of clouded with dirt. Why you sleep with one eye open? That's the price you'll pay. Because I said, hey girl with one eye, get your filthy fingers out of my pie. I'll cut your little heart out because you made me cry. Interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I could see the direction that they're leaning. There's just a few things in there that I'm like, huh, I don't know. Which is partly why I was looking in the writing credits to see if maybe the song was originally put out by this other band or like recorded and maybe even had some information on it. Which I'm sure there's, you know, some Reddit articles. Which maybe, I guess we could take a quick look. Let's see. Girl with one eye song meaning. Just see what some other people are saying. See, this, obviously this is put together from like an aggregate of everything that's others are saying. It says the song themes of violence, betrayal, dark retaliation, though listeners, fans interpret its narrative from a few different perspectives. Lines like I slipped my hand under a skirt lead some listeners to view the song as a chilling narrative depicting an attempted sexual assault or predatory act, followed by violent retribution for the aftermath of physical harm. This one, a scorned woman's revenge. Another common reading sees the lyrics from the perspective of a jealous, betrayed woman seeking violent vengeance against a rival who stole her romantic interest or ruined her overconfidence. The recurring phrase, sleep with one eye open, represents a state of permanent fear, caution, distrust resulting from trauma or dangerous environment. Let's hop in here real quick. Just this past that time of the week where we go over a certain song by Florence and the Machine, I've asked to do Girl with One Eye, one of my favorites from Lungs. It's actually a cover. Girl with One Eye is a vengeance song. In the song, Florence tells about how she already cut a girl's eye out for having a pretty face. Great start to a song. If you ask me, however, if we look at the very first line, we see that there's a little bit of history between them. She told me not to step on the cracks. I told her not to fuss and relax. It seems this girl got Florence in some sort of trouble because of what she did. So the eye cutting is justified somewhat. Still, she cut out someone's eye, took it home. Oh, clearly, Florence is playing a complete psycho. Florence sings, I slipped my hand under her skirt. I said, don't worry, it's not going to hurt. My reputation's kind of clouded with dirt. That's why she sleeps with one eye open. This verse, the second verse, clearly shows some sort of sexual assault. Florence is now hated by all figures, I guess. I mean, I guess even though I can see this as not an assault, right? But more so even if somebody who was known for maybe not being really faithful, or in a relationship, you know, not... Maybe being difficult in a relationship, or using a person, things like that. The idea of slipping my hand under a skirt, I said, don't worry, it's not going to hurt. My reputation's kind of clouded with dirt. That's why she sleeps with one eye open. I mean, I guess the not going to hurt, you know, could imply that. So yeah, I can see how people are seeing this a lot of different ways. So feel free to share with me your thoughts on it. We'll go ahead and move into the next track. All right, track 7. This is Drumming Song.
There's a drumming noise inside my head that starts when you're around. I swear that you could hear it, it makes such an almighty sound. There's a drumming noise inside my head that throws me to the ground. I swear that you should hear it, it makes such an almighty sound. Loud and silent.
Sounds like migraines.
Sweeter than heaven.
Oh.
When the church bells chime, I hope that they would clear my mind. They left it ringing in my ear, but that drum's still beating loud and clear. Loud and silence, louder than bells, sweeter than heaven and harder than hell. Loud and
See, but I don't know about the sweeter than heaven.
heaven and harder than hell, louder than sirens, louder than bells, sweeter than heaven and harder than hell.
Oh, maybe it's infatuation.
My feet towards your body, I can hear
Okay.
speed. It fills my head up and gets louder and louder. It fills my head up, it gets louder and louder. Onto the rail.
Wow.
And I strayed in. I pray that the water will drown out the din. But as the water fills my mouth, it couldn't wash the echoes out. But as the water fills my mouth, it couldn't wash the echoes out. I swallow the sound and it swallows me whole till there's nothing left inside my soul. I'm empty as that beating drum, but the sound has just begun.
Oh, it's so cool.
As I move my feet towards your body, I can hear this beat. It fills my head up and gets louder and louder. Fills my head up and gets louder and louder. There's a drumming noise inside my head that starts when you're around. I swear that you could hear it, it makes such an almighty sound. There's a drumming noise inside my head that starts when you're around. I swear that you could hear it, it makes such an almighty sound. Louder than sirens, louder than bells, sweeter than heaven and harder than hell. Louder than sirens, louder than bells, sweeter than heaven and harder
Wow, dude. Wow. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you want access to hundreds of hours of additional content from dozens of artists, then check out my Patreon. That's where we host music videos, live performances, exclusive live streams, behind the scenes content, documentaries, and you get the ability to help vote on the albums we listen to here on the channel. Patreon is the best way to support this channel, and you can get access to the entire library, past, present, and future for just $5. Join the amazing community that we're building over there, and I try to make it worth your time and your money. All right, let's get back into it. Dude, what a triumphant song. Like everything about it, thematically, musically, lyrically. The performance of it, dude, she really just gives it her all. Such cool percussion elements in this and throughout this whole album. And it seems to center on kind of like a forbidden love, or not necessarily a forbidden love. It's definitely attraction. At first I was like, oh, it's maybe a song about like migraines, but then the sweeter than heaven, I was like, okay. And then she has the lyrics come in about my feet come near you. I'm like, oh, okay, this is that like burning attraction, just heart starts racing, just blood surging through your brain, that type of feeling, even, kind of almost like a sexual attraction. But then her idea about like jumping in the river or going to, I think she said going to church, maybe it's something that she kind of wants to fight or push back against or isn't sure about. But then anytime she really thinks about it or gets close to this person, she can't help the way that she's feeling. Okay, later released the album's fourth single. She described the song herself. This is about when there's that electricity between you and a boy and it's completely unspoken. When they're standing in front of you and you can't breathe, can't think, can't do anything properly. I'm really geeky. If I like someone, I just become incapable. I remember with my first boyfriend walking past the window of a pub, seeing he was in there and literally throwing myself on the ground and crawling on the floor because I was so scared. I feel things quite intensely, which is probably why the music is quite intense. If I really like someone, I like someone. I'm sad, I'm sad. That's fun. She said, I was listening to a lot of hip hop. I want to know what hip hop Florence listens to. And I wanted to make something that had that kind of beat to it. To me, it's the most forward-thinking music around. No one else is moving forward at such a pace. That's really cool to hear her say. Because we've gotten into quite a bit of hip hop on this channel, and it's really caught me off guard. I mean, there's plenty of stuff I come across that I'm not a big fan of or wouldn't necessarily listen to on my own, but it's cool to see all the different pockets and influences and genres. And I'm telling you what, man, rap and hip hop artists, the best of them, are so incredibly intelligent. There are some albums I've come across. I remember Billy Wood's album Ethiops, and it's not necessarily the kind of album you just throw on for fun listening. When it was done, as I struggled my way through that album and I was learning so much that I'd never known before, I finished and looked up like, man, has anybody else talked about this album? And I found an 1.5-hour YouTube video from an arts history professor. And he began the video saying, guys, I'm not even gonna be able to scratch the surface on this. And I was like, oh, okay, good. I'm not as much of an idiot as I thought, because this guy is very intelligent, and still, like, through this album, the amount of history and references and poetry and anyways. So should give some of it a shot. J. Cole's been one of my favorite. Obviously Kendrick Lamar's really brilliant, but maybe like if you wanted to try a hip hop album or a rap album, maybe try like J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only. It's a narrative that's kind of woven through the whole thing. Obviously, like Good Kid, Mad City from Kendrick Lamar is all about growing up in Compton and this feeling of like he and his friends were these generally like good kids trying to survive in this mad city. To Pimp a Butterfly is all about kind of pimping out black talent, and him kind of coming to grips with feeling that way in his own life and getting caught up in the fame, but then needing to feel grounded. There's an incredible song in there, and then I'll move on from this point, called You. where in the music video, he's in a hotel room and he's drinking and he's having this internal battle of all of the condemnation at himself, almost like a conversation with the devil. And it's incredibly moving. So again, which I have reactions for all those albums on the channel here. Again, it's really gothic imagery, fairy tales, Edgar Allan Poe stories. Maybe that's a better one when I was talking about the grim fairy tales. Edgar Allan Poe might be a better, whatever I'm trying to say, comparison. I'd read a lot of gothic horror when I was a kid. Also things like Sylvia Plath. I've always been a kind of literary miserablist. I just want to read a book and feel sad. All right, James Ford. Yeah, really, really cool song. But I'm very intrigued. I'm like, I wonder what kind of hip hop she listened to. All right, this is track 8, titled Between Two Lungs. Again, the percussion, man. Siren song.
Between two lungs, it was released. The breath that carried me, the sigh that blew me forward. 'Cause it was wrong between two lungs. It was wrong between two lungs. It was wrong between two lungs. And my running feet could fly, each breath screaming, we are all too young to die.
There's like clapping or even like the wood clapper, maybe?
Released the breath that passed from you to me, that flew between us as we slept, that slipped from your mouth into mine. It cried between two lungs. It was released the breath that passed from you to me, that flew between us as we slept, that slipped from your mouth into mine.
This is such a cool way of expressing this.
'Cause it was wrong between two lungs. It was wrong between two lungs. Gone are the days of begging, the days of theft. No more gasping for breath. The air's filled me head to toe, and I can see the ground fall below.
This is the beauty of songwriting and of poetry. Oh gosh, the ability to express something in such an interesting way. You know, because what I gather from this, at least the big picture of what seems to be expressed, is just the communication, whether that's through a breath or through a word. But I know even biblically speaking about the tongue having the power of life and death and what comes from the tongue. But then the Bible also connects like what overflows from the mouth is from what's within a person. But to take it even like a layer deeper is what actually produces these words. Yes, is our tongue is a big part, but it's the breath being pushed out of our lungs through our mouths, and our throats and our tongues and all of that help shape that. That's what our voice is. But the air comes through our lungs. And to talk about, there's part of me that wonders like if it's the word I love you or something like that then she holds tightly, within her own chest. But ultimately the song just seems to be about there's so much that we express toward others in so many different ways just through that air coming through our lungs, between two lungs. That's so freaking cool. All right, let's take a look here. Almost title track to Florence and the Machine's debut album, Lungs was later re-released with a special Between Two Lungs edition, solidifying this. She told the story of her song. She said, that was the first song I ever wrote by myself, so it's crazy to me that it's on the album. I was still at art college, but my first guitarist, Matt, of the Ludes, had left, and I wasn't sure how I was going to be making music. I was still doing gigs, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen. It started with the drums, dum-dum. I've always been interested in the lulls between notes and the atmosphere that silence creates. Well, that was one thing I noticed and I really appreciated. And I've been on kind of like a music making journey myself, learning to make music, and coming across things like this just reminds me of things like the way that this song started, it was very kind of slow and intentional in a lot of the percussion elements. Because I know the fact of like building something up, but rarely have I ever started a song kind of in the way this one has, which things like that make me like, I want to like remember and go back and listen to this song and be like, okay, let me take that concept or that idea and see, let me go make my own kind of version with building in the way that it is. So I noticed that for sure. It's all about the build and the final release, the euphoria that you can get from music, but the silence around it and the studio hiss. I love studio hiss. Well, and it's good too, because it does kind of provide this bed, not in a distracting way, but you're always looking for that in audio. If it's only like capturing from a microphone and there's just such silence in between, I always feel in music, like I try to look for something to give this kind of floor to everything. It's a song being built by someone who has no idea how to play anything. It's making it all up as they go along. The title actually comes from an 80s pulp book I'd found in a second-hand shop. It has some great titles in it. It became about a kiss, the air you share when you're kissing someone, the way it fills you up and you don't want the bubble to burst. She also mentioned that song uses the first piano melody I wrote was for Between Two Lungs, which is literally just an ascending scale. I love that, man. Fire! Fire! Yeah, that's a brilliant song, dude. I call those the vehicles in which you're telling a story. How to think about that and be like, we shared a kiss or something like that. It's like, no. What if I could go a little bit deeper? What is this? Okay, this exchange between people, this almost swapping of air, of breath. And, where does that come from? It comes from our lungs, between two. You know what I mean? Just the idea of getting down to that is so cool to me. All right, let's get into track 9, Cosmic Love. I want some cosmic feeling, dude. Take me somewhere out of this world.
A falling star fell from your heart and left. It's left me blind.
Blinded by love.
The stars, the moon, they have all been blown out. You left me in the dark. No dawn, no day. I'm always in this twilight, in the shadow of your heart. And in the dark, I can hear your heartbeat. I try to find the sound, but then it stopped, and I was in the darkness. So darkness I became. The stars, the moon, they have all been blown out. You left me in the dark. No dawn, no day. I'm always in this twilight, in the shadow of your I took the stars from my eyes, and there I made a map. I knew that somehow could find my way back. Then I heard your heart beating. You
That's cool.
darkness too. So I stayed in the darkness with you. The stars, the moon, they have all been blown out. You left me in the dark. No dawn, no day. I'm always in this twilight, in the shadow of your
Like fireworks? I love the harp being this like consistent instrument throughout this album. Yeah, man, very like fairy tale type vibes on this. And you get this warrior side of Florence, right? She's somewhere between this dark fairy and a warrior. You know, and the idea, I think, is fitting theme with a lot of the other themes in this album, but it seems the idea of like blinded by love, kind of just almost lost in this other person, but then she discovers the other person in there with her and is guided by, you know, the beat of their heart. But looking in their eyes, she tries to, like, the same way you'd use the stars for guidance, you know, kind of find their way through. I love the art here for this one. It's almost like her laying in the universe. Okay, this says, an ethereal yet somber sound connoting a seemingly lighthearted approach to a melancholy subject. She told the Sunday Times the song illustrates how being in love means you give yourself up to the dark, to being blind. She said, Cosmic Love was a joke title, but it stuck. The most hungover I've ever been when writing a song. I went to Isabella Summers' studio after having been to a party, and I was lying on the floor wanting to vomit. We were working really hard on a song, just trying to make this piano part work, and all of a sudden I hit on one note, and I got it. We wrote the whole song in 10 minutes. That's cool. She said I was most hungover I've ever been. Trying to create a weird sort of piano opus. It was so complicated and rubbish, but I found these two notes. She sings them, ba-bum, ba-bum. And then within half an hour, I did the whole song. Like the first line, a falling star, and it all just fell out of my mouth. I've never written a song so quickly, apart from maybe Kiss with a Fist. When it came to Paul, he was trying to create a big sound around it. I really like the sound of recording on quite shitty microphones and bad computers, but sometimes it can get quite claustrophobic. So I was really looking for some air with the music and to make it sound like you were going into space. We used quite a lot of electronics, a lot of weird vocals, put some fireworks samples at the end. It's an organic song, but done with a lot of electronic atmosphere. I've got a lot of spark to it. It's got a lot of spark to it and electricity, and I think that's what the song should have, an electric feel. Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's check out track number 10, My Boy Builds Coffins.
My boy builds coffins with hammers and nails. He doesn't build ships, he has no use for sails. He doesn't make tables, dresses, or chairs. He can't carve a whistle.
Wow, so cool.
My boy builds coffins for the rich and the poor. Kings and queens have all knocked on his door. Beggars and liars, gypsies and thieves, they all come to him 'cause he's so eager to please. My boy builds coffins, he makes them all day. But it's not just for work and it isn't for play. He's made a one for himself, one for me too. One of these days he'll make one for you, for you, for you, for you. My boy builds coffins for better or worse. Some say it's a blessing, some say it's a curse. He fits them together in sunshine or rain. Each one is unique, no two are the same. My boy builds coffins, and I think it's a shame that when each one's been made, he can't see it again.
Well, that's interesting.
Everyone with love and with care, then it's thrown in the ground, it just isn't fair. My boy builds coffins, he makes them all day. But it's not just for work, and it isn't for play. He's made a one for himself, one for me too. And one of these days, he'll make one for you, for
I think that's one of my favorite songs, not only from Florence, just period. which I'm sure there's other things going on here, but in some ways I like to think of it as a very simple tale of somebody who is a craftsman, creates these things that they spend time and care on, and maybe even in some ways, because all these different people are coming to him, some are more ornate than others. But ultimately it's to place a body in and to put it in the ground and never see it again. So there's that part of it. Then I think there's the side, one deeper meaning here is just coming to peace with death, because she is very forward, you know, in it. One day he'll make one for you. And so I imagine there is something in here about just the celebration of life, but also understanding that it's only for a time and that all of us will pass. Because at first the idea of building coffins, I was thinking, okay, like he's this harbinger of death, you know, not in that way, but almost like, let's say you're somebody who's really bad at relationships, you know, or just maybe you've known someone who lies, who's ugly, who's selfish, and basically every relationship they're building coffins. They're just constantly burying these relationships. That's kind of where I thought it was going, but then obviously landed more where, you know, what I shared just a moment ago. So I hope that we get some insight from her, because I find it a really interesting song. So the main theme in the song is a discussion on unavoidable death. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, we all find ourselves facing death eventually. Many are buried in a coffin. The boy understands this, does what he can to help others complete the circle of life. Said the song was inspired by an actual incident that happened when Florence Welch was going out with a member of the punk band. She explained, "This was a song we wrote as a band. Most of the others were written by me with one other person. It's very literal. My boyfriend at the time, who was in the Ludes, was going to build a coffin for the cover of their EP, so he couldn't take me to the cinema." Sorry, babe, I'm busy. What are you doing? Just building a coffin. Charlie Howl. Okay, it's the first time we've seen his name on here. Written for or worked with Ed Sheeran, Halsey. Done a good bit of work with Florence. Some other names I don't recognize on here. Yeah, man, I think it's really cool. Great song with deep meaning. Is it about dating a drug dealer? Oh, okay, that's funny. I could imagine how somebody gets that. This person who essentially is, you know, giving things that are going to kill a person. That's funny, man. The different ways people can see it, interpret something. All right, this next one, track 11, is Hurricane Drunk, which sounds like Florence has a little bit of experience with.
No walls can keep me protected. No sleep, nothing in between me and the rain. And you can't save me now. I'm in the grip of a hurricane. I'm gonna blow myself away. I'm going out. I'm gonna drink myself to death. And in the crowd, I see you with someone else. I brace myself, 'cause I know it's gonna hurt. But I like to think at least things can't get any worse. No home, I don't want shelter, no calm.
see her just like this.
Then you lean and kiss her on the head, and I never felt so alive,
Wow.
so dead. I'm going out. I'm gonna drink myself to death, and in the crowd I see you with someone else. I brace myself, 'cause I know it's gonna end. I'm going out. I'm going out. I'm gonna drink myself to death, and in the crowd I see you with someone else. I brace myself, 'cause I know it's gonna end. I'm going out. I'm going out. I'm going out. I'm going out. I'm going
It does have a bit of a party vibe to it, even though obviously it's still kind of a melancholy song, but it does sound like a night out type thing as well. Which, okay, I'm assuming part of her going out drinking herself to death is probably because she, you know, this relationship that has fallen apart and she's kind of in the sorrow of that. So then she's drinking, and obviously the way alcohol or any substance, once it's in you, you're kind of along for the ride. So caution on what substances you use and how much you drink, because there is a point you gotta ride it out. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of, that's, I think, the hurricane, you know, she drank. So now it's like alcohol starting to take its effect, and she's just in this hurricane, and then catches eyes, I'm assuming, with who this person was that she was with, and it hurts her, but then she also feels alive, which may be the connection to the alcohol, but also dead because of her seeing this person that she loved with another person who seems indifferent, you know, and is affectionate toward another person in front of her. Yeah, man, just every single song it's so cool, the way in which she's telling these things. Gospel influenced layers of sound about the emotions you feel when you've been heartbroken. The song, like many on Lungs, was written while Florence, the front woman of Florence and the Machine, was getting over breaking up with her boyfriend, the first time her heart had ever been broken. However, once the record was completed, Welch found herself back in love with the same man. She told The Independent in June 2009, "It's difficult because half the album is about breaking up with him." That's funny. So she also said, "This was written in about 10 minutes. I've never had my heart broken before. When I did, I realized how delicious it can be, how intoxicating. You suddenly realize that all the little things you cared about don't matter. You don't care about anything. You think, I'm going to drink myself to death. Then you bump into them and they're with another girl. You've been waiting for the worst to happen, and when it does, you're free. Nothing matters. All the wind is taken out of you, but then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going out. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can hurt me anymore. I'm invincible because you've hurt me so much." So maybe it's not ultimately about being drunk at all, the way that she kind of explains it here. Let's see. There's no official music video. However, Florence tweeted about the song's video. "Shooting video today with blue-skinned Shangri-La ladies, a Viking, a gospel choir. I'm dressed as a kabuki monk. All in a day's work, really. But it was scrapped. Part of the video was later released." That's interesting. I never really think about things like that happening. All right, we got another person on this. Adele, Sam Smith. This is a great Sam Smith album. I think it's the only album I've ever listened to from him. I didn't do it here on the channel. I listened to it on my own, like way back in 2012 or something. Let's see. The best song, story, feeling, lyric. I can really see myself in this situation. Oh, part of the unreleased video. We'll have to get that up on Patreon. All right. We are hurling toward the close of this album. This is the penultimate track, track 12, titled Blinding. Ooh.
Seems that I have been held in some dreaming state, a tourist in the waking world, never quite awake. No kiss, no gentle word could wake me from this slumber until
All right, man. That was a cool one. You obviously begin with the crow call, and it almost sounds like in the woods. It makes me think of, it's been so long since I've seen this movie, but Hocus Pocus, if I can remember, kind of starts with, it's either early in the morning or it's like dawn or dusk. It's either dawn or dusk. But if I can remember, it was the younger sister like wooing these children, I think. But that's what it makes me think of, is like moving through the forest at dawn or dusk. Almost this kind of like seance type feeling. And I imagine the whole song is, especially moving toward the end of this album, and a lot of it centering around, you know, heartbreak. It does feel like coming to your senses, you know, kind of letting go, being free. And this idea with the fairy tale, like there's no kiss that can wake her from the slumber, but all of a sudden she does become awake. And I think it's this feeling of kind of moving on, right? And then there's that really interesting contrast between Snow White, who is a fairy tale figure, a fantasy figure, and stitching up my circuit board. So you bring this like futuristic, technological, electronic element into this fairy tale thing, which is really neat. And that kind of goes into that synapses, like firing type thing, which does feel like just this being woken up from this dream state. Let's go take a look. Blinding. Fairy tale flights of fantasy to tell her listeners about the love and pain in our vulnerable youth. In 2009, she spoke about the recording process. She said, "We projected a massive moon on the side of the wall, turned all the lights off. We made the moon go on the ceiling. I had to lie on a bed and mutter." That's wild. Produced by Paul Epworth. Somebody said, okay, it's my meaning, even in the midst of losing a lover, stumbling about in a fog, very much aware of everything, her synapses are still firing. I got the feeling that the synapses firing was her waking up from the fog. Like there is a point that, and I guess it goes this way with any kind of grief, heartbreak, depression, even just, you know, having a really crappy day or a crappy couple of days, you know, you feel like, man, how am I going to get on the other side of this? And so maybe it's more likened to grief, to depression, things like that. It's just this like, man, I don't know how to wake myself up. But then oftentimes it's time, right? And then somewhere out of nowhere, it feels like the lightning, the thunder. You get this sense, the synapses start firing, and you begin to wake up out of this place. That's what it feels like to me. All right, let's see how she chooses to close out this album. Track 13, You've Got the Love.
Sometimes I feel like throw my hands up in the air. I know I can count on you. Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care. But you've got the love I need to see me through. Sometimes it seems the going is just too rough, and things go wrong no matter what I do. Now and then it seems like the life is just too much. But you've got the love I need to see me through. When food is gone, you are my daily need. Oh, when friends are gone, I know my Savior's love is real. You know it's real. You've got the love. You 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 got the love. Time after time, I think, oh Lord, what's the use? Time after time, I think it's just no good. 'Cause sooner or later in life, the things you love, you lose. But you've got the love I need to see me through.
that harp, man. I think that's such a cool close to the album, you know, kind of going through all these complicated feelings and infatuation through heartbreak, kind of ending up in this place. And I don't really know Florence's beliefs or, you know, even at this time or if they've changed over time. But, you know, just through a listen through, it sounds like she's speaking, because she even says, you know, her savior. So it sounds like she's speaking of God, speaking of Jesus. And when she fails herself, when others fail her, when she feels like she can't be loved or that there is no love, there is a love that endures, a grace that endures, a joy that endures. You know, and I know in my own life, because I'm very open, you know, on the channel and stuff about my own beliefs, and I am a Christian, passionate follower of Jesus, never steered me wrong and led me so well through my life, that you do feel like that. You know, the scriptures say that there's a friend that's closer than a brother. And it's the idea of when you feel like you have nothing left. And even if you're surrounded by people that love you and friends, and even in times that feel like everything's going right, man, there's sometimes in your soul, you're just like, I don't know what it is, man. I need some wisdom. I need some encouragement. I need some direction. And he's always been faithful to provide those things. And it kind of seems like what she's going after in this as well. But it says here, described as one of her favorite songs ever, the 1986 single You've Got the Love by The Source was covered by Florence and the Machine as You've Got the Love. The song first released as the B-side of Dog Days Are Over, but after the success of the song, it re-released as the fifth single from their debut album Lungs in 2009. President Obama included You've Got the Love on his 2012 official Spotify campaign playlist. It was also featured in the Gossip Girl series finale. She said, as a kid going to clubs and raves, this song made me feel love. At Bestival last year, we were top of the bill on that stage. So we were thinking of an amazing cover we could do, and I thought of Candy Staton. Even in rehearsals, playing it was just the most euphoric feeling. Then playing it live and seeing everyone's arms in the air and the faces was the best feeling ever. I was dressed as a genie sea monster, and I remember looking at my guitarist as we played the first chords. Then there was the reaction. It was like tearing ourselves open, just exploding on the crowd, and they all did it back. It's a feeling you couldn't express. I'm really excited that now in our live shows, I'm going to be playing one of my favorite songs ever, Loads. Produced by Charlie Hugall. Oh yeah, we saw him, okay. When food is gone, you're my daily meal. See, it's interesting, people, she's addicted to him, being with him, providing her needs ever more than food, such a fundamental thing in her life, which obviously, like, she doesn't necessarily have to connect it to the spiritual elements, but I think just even looking at the flow of the song, sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. Like, so I feel at the end of my rope, I know I can count on you. Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care, which you could say that is like not directed toward Lord, I just don't care, but just like a Lord, I just don't care. But I think if you keep watching the way it develops, but you've got the love I need to see me through. Sometimes it seems the going is just too rough. The things go wrong no matter what I do. Now and then it seems that life is just too much, but you've got the love I need to see me through. When food is gone, you are my daily meal. When friends are gone, I know my Savior's love is real. So I guess if you're using it in the sense of a Savior's love being the person, you've got the love because you got the love. Yeah, it's interesting. I typically wouldn't think of a person, but I guess, you know, there are relationships where somebody feels like somebody was a savior in their life. But I don't know, when I hear it, it kind of just makes me think like past a person, and that there's a love that I need when life is going wrong, when people fail me, when friends fail me. But I can see too as well, you know, the connection there to a person. So if it's a cover, let me see if this links to the original, or maybe we can look it up here. You Got the Love. Let's do this. Famously long, confusing history. The first incarnation of the track was released in 1986. You Got the Love was recorded in Chicago, written by a trio of songwriters, producers called The Source. They recruited soul singer Candy Staton to record the vocals. The song was intended for a movie about an obese man's weight loss journey. It was about this guy. The video was about this guy losing weight. He was 900 pounds, needed to lose lots of weight. The video didn't happen because he lost nearly all the weight but was still 300 pounds. Everything stopped and I just thought it was over until I heard that it was in the top 10 in Europe. I was like, oh my God. By 1991, and unbeknownst to Staton, the song became a top 10 dance record in the UK. The song was initially released in two forms: a cappella version attributed to the obscure label Source Records. Okay, burgeoning dance music scene. Most notable matchup that launched the song into mainstream popularity was done by London-based club. They paired Staton's vocals with Your Love by Jamie Principle. Okay, so just a lot of stuff about how this song has continued to evolve over the years. True Love now operates his own musical publishing company. Then Florence and the Machine did it. Which True Love said, it's cool. Florence has been able to take the song somewhere else again in a very positive way. Certainly has led a charmed life. They changed the lyrics at all, or is it pretty much just the same? Sooner or later in life, things you love, you lose. Just like before I know, I call on you. Occasionally my thoughts are brave and my friends are few. Occasionally I cry out, Lord, what must I do? Occasionally I call up, Master, make me new. See, that's interesting because it does. It seems to have a very like Christian roots. Lord, what must I do? I call up, Master, which I don't think would be speaking of a person, make me new. You've got the love to see me through. So it seems like, at least in whatever roots, and who Candy Staton It makes me curious, you know, if Candy Staton was possibly like a gospel writer. Let's see. American singer. Best known in the United States for a 1970 cover of Tammy Wynette's Stand By Your Man. Her 1976 disco chart topper Young Hearts Run Free. Interesting. Love the way all music connects, man. So yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I guess let's talk a few closing thoughts. Again, I mean, I'm already a huge fan of Florence and the Machine from Dance Fever. Loved everything about it. Love her songwriting. Love the instrumentation. Love the creativity. The storytelling. Like, it's so good. The instrumentation in this album is awesome. You get the harp consistently throughout it. You get a lot of great percussion elements from either claps or wood blocks, tambourine, plenty of other things in there. Every now and then you get some sound effects, the fireworks, the crow. Obviously, her voice is insane, just such a powerhouse, such a fairy tale warrior. Such unique songwriting and imagery that's painted. You can grab hold of it pretty easy, like what she's saying. But then if you really, you know, break everything down and think about it and all the different elements, it's deep and profound. So yeah, you can go ahead and just solidify me, stamp me part of the Florence and the Machine fan club. So excited to see more of her work over time. Really excited to go check out the bonus tracks, the music videos, live performances, all those good things. So if you want to check those out, you can head over to Patreon. They are up on Patreon now. And I also have all the content from Dance Fever as well. Hundreds of hours of additional content from dozens of artists. And it is the best way to support this channel. So thank you again, our anonymous individual, for supporting this and sponsoring this album reaction. Loved getting to dip back into the work of Florence. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll have a good conversation there. Thanks for hanging out with me for this one. I hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.